Live on stage, the sound
of Orlando.
So, is they ready?
Yes.
The sound
of Orlando.
You know?
What is going on, party people? What is going on? You're back with another episode of the Sound of Orlando show. I am your boy Rome. We're back again. Want to send a big shout out to everybody that's supporting this movement. They're out there buying shirts and, wanting to have their stamp on what the Sound of Orlando means, to others. And I think that's a beautiful thing, man, because when we're talking about the Sound of Orlando, yes, it represents myself, but also the entire city. This idea of the show has been made for the idea of bringing on everyone from the city and abroad, because that is important. We spent a lot of years in this city only allowing people that either knew people, and that's it, not wanting to share the wealth, if you will, and give other people opportunities. I seen we had a need for that, and that's why we're doing this show, because our people need to be heard. Our voice is important, and one person basically monopolizing a voice is not a good thing nowhere. So welcome to the Sound of Orlando show. I want to thank everybody. My sister Vanessa out in Germany, she caught one of them Lemonade version 2 shirts, man, today. Shouts out to my man, Specialist, who just copped the shirt out in Detroit. 313 represent, my man's out in Indiana. There's a lot of people just out here, man, supporting what we're doing. And for some people, I'm not going to pay this amount for a shirt. I don't even live there. Well, we're not worried about you people, because that's not who we're trying to talk to. We're trying to talk to the people that actually do give a damn and actually do want to support our city, our people, and don't mind doing whatever it takes to make sure that people like myself and others are at it in this city to make that change. And this is what we're doing. And I thank you all, man. You guys are amazing, and I appreciate you guys. All of us at the Sound of Orlando show. So now, next guest we have coming on tonight. Oh, my bad. Our sponsor of tonight is the legendary Jesse Jazz, 5-star graphics, man. If you don't know about Jesse Jazz, you ain't from Orlando. And if you don't know what kind of work this man does, man, you need to go check this brother, because he is no joke on the graphics, on the shirts, on the cards. I mean, whatever you need from a graphic standpoint, this man does it. And just reach out to him, 5stargraphics.com. We are in the heart of Orlando. You better believe that. Now, this next guest I got coming on, amazing brother. He's cut his teeth, if you will, with some great people, the likes of the Terror Squad, Cuban Link, and, representing the island of Cuba. All my Cubanos out there, what's up? We got to represent from the BX, the birthplace of hip hop. He is just trying to do his part to push the culture forward and keep that thing moving like a damn semi truck with a drunk driver in it. This is what we're trying to do. My mans, give it up for Lazaris The Top Don, man. What's good, homie?
Hey, what's up, homie? Shout out to, the show. Shout out to everybody in Orlando. Appreciate for y'all having me here. Shout out to Rome and y'all movement. And y'all got my support off the rip. As soon as I come on the show, I'm letting y'all know that y'all got my support.
I appreciate that, brother.
All that, And I didn't know about him with the graphics, but I definitely will be reaching out, because I'm not from Orlando, but I visited, and I've always had great times when I went out there. So I definitely give him a holler.
Yeah, man, my man Jesse Jazz ain't no joke, man, on them graphics, man. He's a good dude, and it's great. It's great when you can have an opportunity at any time to break bread and do business with good people and and just support your people out here, man. What else are we doing? We supporting the Walmarts. We support Sam's getting their money. Walmart getting their money.
Yeah.
Why don't we support local businesses, and keep that thing running? But let's get into it, who you are and how you got into hip hop. Let's talk about, for the people them who don't know who you are, who is Lazarus the Top Don, and how did you start out in hip hop?
Well, salute. So everybody that don't know, Lazarus the Top Don is an artist that is part of what's considered a musical dynasty. All right, music comes from embedded in my family. I'm Cuban and Puerto Rican. For those that don't know, both my Cuban uncles are famous. One is Arsenio Rodriguez, may he rest in peace, and my other uncle Chocolate. We have a Bronx street renamed after him. This is a man who did music in the times where racism was involved and people were getting lynched because of colors, and actual, nationality. All right, at these times. All right, he's known for making the threats and known for being one of the greatest percussionists in the world. My other uncle, his name is Chocolate Alfredo Almentros, Manhattan, and in front of Taino Towers is renamed after him. Him and my other uncle were both in the same band, so that's where Lazarus the Top Don comes from. I come from a musical dynasty. Music comes from my family. Rest in peace to my mom. My mom traveled the world with my uncles. When I was young, my mom used to play, my uncle's music, of course, Gerald Levert, different kind of music growing up in my house. So I started making music at a very young age, around 8 to 9 years old. I started taking music serious already around 11 or 12 years old. I was battling in the streets at 13 or 14. By the time I was 16, I could say I landed my first actual official recording, and my song got played, and aired out on Hot 97. It was called Street Famous, my song. At the time I was dealing with, but yeah, I was dealing with a different person. His name was Kenny Rivera at the time, and he was an intern at the time, and at that time, there wasn't so much money or backing and things like that. It was mainly you and compressing with the DJ. So that's when I first originally started.
And and give people an idea, for all my Bronx people, where exactly in the Bronx?
Oh, I'm from Hunts Point. I'm from the hardest part of the Bronx. I'm not gonna lie to you. Where we at is the South Bronx originated, 3 blocks away from where Pun and Fat Joe and everybody, be at on Trinity Ave and everything.
Hunts Point. There used to be a show back in the days on HBO, and if you know, you know. Right? That show was Hunts Point. Hunts Point was already famous. Even from then, the 60s, 70s. It was just been like Times Square. But if you know about Hunts Point, let's just say that show ran for fucking years. Come on late at night. Everybody know what the hell was going on. But yeah, you're right. That whole area. The Bronx is. I think the Bronx gets a bad name. People aren't assholes.
No, yeah.
If you live in the conditions that you live in, you got to do what you got to do. You got to be tough, so you don't take shit from nobody. But it's not like people are running around fucking raping and pillaging people. And a lot of times the Bronx gets that kind of look.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. And then what I was gonna say was, when people ask me, I tell them, I'm from where the strong survive. As long as they know that, then they be like, oh, okay, I get it.
Right. But yeah, man, that's a tough little area, brother. And anytime one of brothers like yourself are able to get out of there, meaning like able to make it past your teens and into your 20s and stuff like that, that deserves a celebration, because it, for all of what's going on, the gentrifications in like Brooklyn and Queens and Manhattan, everything's getting more expensive. The Bronx still relatively, they're cleaning it up. It's getting be cleaner, but that's the older brother, man. That's the uncle to show up at the party. He's drunk, and ain't nobody messing with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the last borough they messing with. But everywhere else, they're making it nice, putting up flowers, trees.
Correct.
How is it? How is it now? Like when you look at the Bronx versus when you were growing up, to you, and the culture, because we went through several cultural shifts
Correct.
since your childhood. What do you, if you look back at it now versus, I mean, look back at it now where it was and where it is now. How does the Bronx feel to you?
I feel that the Bronx right now is actually starting to come back. The Bronx is coming back now more than ever. Why? Because I felt the other boroughs were taking it over. Brooklyn with the drill scene, everything else that was going. But you have people like shout out my brother, the infamous Amadeus. You have people like Benny the Butcher and them that give you that real rap, including myself. My album is out right now, Success in My Path, Volume 1 on all DSPs. You can find it. I feel that hardcore boom bap sound is coming back now, and you really have to rap again.
I love what you just said, but it's convoluted, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
They are bringing the memory of it back for me. Like, they're bringing the memory back. I think it's allowing a space for the youth because they represent. It's weird. They sound like they came up with me, but they move like my kids. You know what I mean? Like, so they
Correct.
have both spirits, and I think it's dope. But there's a lot of people, man, that have been doing it for a minute without interruption. Like, your Black Thoughts, your Jay-Z's, and people like that. Um, do you think they're getting a lot of the credit for kind of pushing this new wave? And I'm not really focused on them as much as what they represent, saying that it's okay to be you. If you will, like, be okay. Like, that's boom bap represents. Like, boom bap allows artists or MCs to be who they are.
Well, I agree with you, and then I disagree with you. It's a little bit of both. Why? Because right now, boom bap has actually taken a change in form and sound, and people haven't even realized that. There's a new sound called lo-fi boom bap. And lo-fi boom bap. Shout out once again to my brother, the infamous Amadeus. Y'all can watch him if y'all not in tune with the infamous hour in the show. He spoke about it, how now music is basically should be categorized. All right. And how music should be categorized the same way rock and roll is, like that soft rock, pop rock. Same way it should be with the genres of hip hop, with trap, with drill. Why? Because you have different sounds of boom bap, lo-fi, hi-fi, boom bap, drill that people are not familiar with, and different sounds that haven't been exchanged. I do feel that Jay-Z, all of them, and the pioneers, yes, are gravitating and get their flowers for what they have done. But even them right now, they're still looking and saying, wow, this drill scene is being taken over, and there are cross genres and mixes with the music being meshed that you can't place in just one category. So you have to try to find, okay, was there a new genre opening? So that's how you have to look at it. You get what I'm saying? So I feel now it's at the most optimistic it's ever been.
Right. And you're on the ground out there in the Bronx where it began.
Correct.
Do you sense in the community that people are actually excited about music again?
Yes, I'm seeing that, because music at the end of the day is a form of energy. Music soothes the soul. God bless everyone and all their families, even out there, Orlando, across the globe. I hope everybody's been safe during this time of COVID. We've been at a point of captivity where everybody's been held in. So everybody's looking for a good time or something good that they can relate to, and that comes through music. Right now, we're seeing streams and downloads and basically music being purchased at an all-time high at a rapid pace than we ever have.
Right. And, like, I think exactly what you just said is, I mean, it's funny. Nobody knew they needed the pandemic.
No,
I know that shit sounds crazy.
I know it sounds crazy. You're not the first I've heard it from. So
nobody knew they needed it, and shut down the entire music industry in a way that made a lot of artists kind of reflect and look back and say, okay, well, if we finna die, we're gonna put it all down. Shout out to H-Town on the check-in. Houston, Texas is in the house, man. What's good? Explicit Productions, man. Shout out to y'all, man, on the check-in.
Shout out to my producer. That's one of my beat makers. Much love.
Yes. Man, Houston represent, man. Ain't nothing wrong with Houston, man. Houston got them legends. Yes. But, it feels like we're in a good space for a reboot, if you will, like people actually feeling inspired, and because right before that pandemic hit, you could feel the frustration, not even from just artists, but just people in general. It almost felt like, okay, I'd rather listen to this than this, and it just put people in a weird space. And I think right now, like you said, with the Benny the Butchers, the Conways, uh, the Royce the 5 9s, the J Coles, I think they're bringing a decent amount of balance. When we reference what you were a part of with the Terror Squad, I mean, that was a great time in hip hop as well. Before all of the kind of poppy bottle kind of raps that they wind up eventually doing. And that really came most from Fat Joe, the crew, the clan that, did all these things like the Beat Nuts and Terror Squad. And y'all just had a sound that was representative of y'all story. It was dope. Like, because when people think sometimes of Latinos,
Yeah.
they tend to be like, okay, somebody's shaving the bars a little bit, they're not really gonna dunk. I play ball, but they're not gonna dunk on you.
Yeah.
They're not gonna razzle dazzle. But man, that Beat Nuts was sick. That Terror Squad was sick. Rest in peace, Big Pun. Like, they sleep on us fellow Latinos. I'm Puerto Rican, so I've been slept on my whole life. Like I know what it is to feel like, you're one step behind in the eyes of others that may look at it one way or another. But when you show them better than you can tell them, I mean, you get nothing but crickets. It's just okay. We see you. But talk about your life being a Cuban in a predominantly. I remember when the Bronx was predominantly Boricua, and then it kind of with the Dominican Republic. Shout out to all my Dominicans out there. What is it like being a Cuban in the Bronx? Because that's not really a representative of where Cubans normally go, if you will.
Well, you already know. First off, que volado, como ya hacer primero para tirármelo adentro ahí.
Right, you already know, Papi. You already know.
It's amazing, to tell you the honest truth, because I sit back and I look at the historical events that took place when my uncles came here on the Mariel. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Music and bring those Afro-Congo sounds and everything. And then remember, I got Puerto Rican in me too. I'm more Cuban, but I got Puerto Rican in me too through my family and through my father. But all through my mother's side, everybody's Cuban, and all my uncles and grandfathers. So I got a mix of both worlds. But all my predominantly Cuban family, I'm not gonna lie, have made legendary impacts when they have came here to New York, not only through music, but through the culture within itself, or just impacting our community.
Right. Talk about it. Yo, Q was in the house. Let's go. Talk about it.
And then when you go back and you sit and look, shout out to all my Boricuas and all that, we official, but nosotros sabemos we be come mierda with each other. We be fighting with each other. You know what I mean?
And you already know. Already know that whole part. Part of the old guard. That's a part of the old guard, because the new guard, right? The new guard ain't with none of that shit.
With none of that. Look, I get tired of hearing it from the people that are really from the campo. Really know when they talk about, listen, are you really black or African American? You start getting into those arguments and all of that. It's different with the Cubans at the end of the day. We acknowledging that. We're proud of everything. We're proudful. All we care about is the preservation of life and moving forward. And if you notice, we're about moving forward with the best medical and best things that you have, even when we cross-reference with the islands, with Jamaica, with everywhere else. So it's much different. When we came here, everything was more historical. I looked at what my uncles did is they cared about everything monumental-wise. Not only were they great music-wise, they were great in real estate. They had their own businesses here. Everything was all jumped up. You understand what I'm saying? They uplifted the Bronx. They went in the Tropicana and Cocobana Club. They did shows for the community at the time to preserve all the Latino community. I mean, that's
Talk your shit. Talk your motherfucking shit, bro. That's exactly the truth.
And bringing people together from within our community and making sure that we're not afraid of anything within our community and able to embrace our culture.
Here's how crazy our world is. And let me let me pose this to you to see if you relate. Okay. We live in a world in which the idea of what it is to have heritage, right? Because that's really what it is. It's not a race of people. Cuban is not a race.
Yeah,
Puerto Ricans are not a race. It's just my particular island. They make fucking arroz con fucking black beans, frijoles, and,
frijoles.
and fucking Boricuas make fucking arroz rojo. I mean,
Yeah,
fucking habichuela rojo.
there you go.
And we have rice amarillo instead of blanco. You
Yeah,
know, we're talking about recipes and little things like how we were raised. That's the only difference.
correct.
But the truth is, we've created a world in which we've heard our old guard say we're Puerto Rican as if we're not black.
Correct.
That's like saying I'm from Kenya, but I'm not black. That don't mean I'm black to a damn South African.
Yeah.
That's like saying like we would never that would never work under any other circumstances. But for some reason in America we found like this fucking loophole and we can say we're this, so we're not that. Nigga, we all black. Cuba, which I didn't know till I was an adult, is the most populated island in the entire Caribbean of Africans, of black people. Like that houses. I'm talking about Jamaica. Okay. All the Jamaicans that think that all the black people live there? Nope. Dominican Republic? I thought maybe there'd be some more black people. Nope. Haiti? Hell no. That's blackity black. Cuba houses the most black people.
Correct.
In the entire Caribbean. But yet, our only narrative and exposure to Cuba are ones that may have blue eyes and blonde hair and kind of blend in with everything else. So the idea is that when they come here, they can almost kind of hide. And I'm talking about the old guard. And so that created this kind of landscape into which, all the Puerto Rico, a lot of the islands were implementing these kind of ideas like the lighter you are, the better you'll have it in America, which is true. That's not even a lie.
Yeah.
But it don't make it right. Right? And so we have people either being afraid to say that they're Cuban without feeling like, especially right now after this Trump shit, people feeling like they can't say that they're Cuban. They can't say that they're Puerto Rican. Like all of this kind of like vitriol over like spilt milk and dumb shit. When the truth is we're all black. And the only difference is we speak Spanish.
Correct.
That's it.
For me, I love it. I've been in tune for many years. If I was to show them, I go through this all the time. See, for me being the light-skinned red bone. And then when they see, God bless, rest in peace, my mom and my uncles and them, because they were blue black.
Right.
My uncle, they used to call him Calle because he used to look like the street. And people would say, wow, you Cuban? Or and there would be stories that he would tell me that he walked in the room, right? Just like what we're speaking right now. And people would talk all this dialect of Spanish. And he would just sit there and act like he didn't know anything. And he understood the whole conversation before he went to go perform. So that's why I say it's always between meets the eye. But I've been educated on that. And I just put it out there because I feel people need to be more educated on that.
Well, we as a people need to be able to talk about it first.
Correct.
And when I say first, meaning because a lot of our people, not because it's an easy kind of thing to go to. I mean, I was called Prieto and Negrito all my life. Like, that's all I was, like, ¿quién es este negro aquí?
Yeah, you like, what?
What the fuck are you talking about? Or to your point, walking on a conversation and they like thinking like you don't understand, and you're like that. Looking back at it, it's so sad that we as humans look at each other that small. But on the other hand, it's also empowering because when you feel like people doubt you, and we're just talking about doubting whether you're this or that based on their programming of what they think this is. And we've all done that in our own ways, but most of us just live off assumptions. We never talk to each other enough to even find out the truth.
Correct. I agree.
And then if we ever do, we come in the conversation normally wanting to disagree. Like, no, I got my own thing, dog. And it's like, really? Like, dude, we've been around for thousands of years. We understand everybody's got their own thing. That don't always works. Now, doesn't it? that doesn't always work.
It doesn't always work.
Right. But, we're talking about this, and obviously we're talking about the impact of being a part of that legendary run with, some of the dopest Latinos to ever, kind of grace the hip hop world. What was that like, being around a Cuban Link and, being around these people that, did they know? Did you know? Like,
I mean, I'm not going to lie. When I was around all of them, I kind of knew. And I'll be honest, the reason why I kind of knew was because every millennium, you only get certain people of an accolade that can draw a crowd or that can draw people together like that. And that was that conglomerate, And shout out to my brother, rest in peace, Hector, when he was fun and full of clips. My sister's husband, I'll never ever forget when he first introduced me to Cuban, and I got to be able to rhyme for him, and being able to rhyme for him, and being able to get that opinion from someone that's in that legendary status in that realm was completely different. And then to be around them and hear a recording process was even greater. I was just a kid at the time. So
right. I had Sick One Centrino on a few weeks ago. You have to know who Sick One is, right? Yeah. And great dude, great mind. And just listening to him talk about what that was like, the reputation you guys had, as far as like that particular neighborhood, those particular blocks. When you look back at it, do you feel like in a lot of ways we're missing what it is to kind of grow up that way, if you will?
Well, yeah, of course. The reason why is because, remember, when at that time there was so much pressure that was being applied during the music. Shout out to the Money Man. They were well established already. You understand what I'm saying? Already coming. Right. And Money Man was the made man at the time. So during the time that they were doing their platinum run and everything was there, I wasn't on the conglomerate. You understand what I'm saying? But I was able to witness everything that was there from the side. Years later on afterwards, his brother gave me a chance and opportunity to work with him, with Thor, with everybody, and become a family and put out records and do things. You understand what I'm saying? So I look at it like at that time, while I was growing up, they were making all the correct and right moves and the right connections. And that's what it was all about. Even to this day right now, they have different things, and that everybody's in their own space, in their own place. But shout out to Joe, man. He still do what he do. You know what I mean? He's still the legend. He's still the icon. Shout out to Money Man. He's still the icon and the legend, regardless of what.
Right. Do you think a lot of the stuff that went down over time, because once again, when we look at groups like Wu-Tang Clan, look, I know what it is to how tough it is to just stay with one damn person. The idea of having all of these different people, personalities, what do you think is so hard about kind of keeping people in a unit? Outside of the obvious, which is, a lot of people just break because of money, either the lack of it or too much of it, but what do you feel based on what you've seen? Because people are together when they ain't got nothing. That's easy.
I just feel it's hard to please everyone and please the media at the same time. And people don't even realize that. You understand? You're sitting here with all this pressure on you. You have people just sitting here giving you all kind of intake on what they feel at the end of the day should or would or could be done, or what shouldn't be done, or what shouldn't happen. When in all reality, you're beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You can't control what's going to actually be upheld, and people don't realize it. There was a time and period where those entities were meant to create history. Sometimes you're meant to be put in that history and then go about your own separate way to create another history.
Can you say that one more time for the people that just came out of the store? They look like they dropped their bag in there, but they just came out and they're wanting to listen to what you just said. Can you say that one more time, buddy?
Yeah, I can say what I said at the end. You know, it's hard sometimes when the media and the critics and everybody is just trying to justify and make things for you. You know, when things are meant to happen that are legendary, people don't realize that that legendary moment is meant to happen at that distinguished time. And that beauty's in the eye of the beholder, that you cannot control when that course of sequence is going to happen. That was meant for those empowers and entities to be met to create that historical event in time and go separate and create more historical events.
Okay, so now, I got my man Lazarus The Top Don on tonight with the Soul Show, and we're talking about this thing of ours, and he just do like $500 on the table and say, I raise all y'all motherfuckers. What? Okay, so now we're finna get deep because I love that. That's a beautiful way of saying and acknowledging how important it is to be present in the moment.
Correct.
Because the moment is guaranteed. We all base our entire fucking lives on wanting that moment to now be a lifetime. And that's bullshit. That's, that how many of us feel like that, well, I thought I was going to be with this person for the rest of my life. No, motherfucker, you should have got everything you got from every moment, and that would have lasted you a lifetime too. Because that was a memory. Like, man, I remember I was, but most people don't feel like that. They feel like almost a lifetime is owed to them. It's an entitlement. Like, we were supposed to be this for our entire lives. And you brought up such an important moment or point in the show, and we got to explore that because we're living in a time right now where we're reminded every day, not to quote Eminem, you only get one shot, you know what I'm saying? But you have a moment right now in history in which all of us have a responsibility to do what you came to do because the whole planet's after you. If a pandemic don't kill you, some racist fuck don't kill you, some jaded dude that feels like you owe them money, take your pick. The whole entire planet is after you, and if you don't do what you came to do, then what the fuck are you doing?
What is your
contribution? That don't always include everyone.
And what is your contribution to hip hop?
Right. That doesn't always include everyone in that particular equation. And correct. It sucks because sometimes it doesn't include your mama.
Correct.
Sometimes it doesn't include your brother that you came up with, you did everything with from a little kid, and they got whatever, done with them. We just lost we've been losing legends left and right. I'm pretty sure a lot of people, right, like had these ideas of, I can't wait, we're going to do this, and now it's no longer there. I'm asking you, as a brethren, as a fellow brother in this world, are we looking at what life owes us, or should we be looking at what we owe life?
That's the key question. And the key question is, if I was to give everyone that answer here on this show, I'd be realistically lying because that's a question that you have to be able to ask within oneself. I've answered that question within myself a long time ago. Just like when I started making music and realizing that music wasn't for myself, it was for the people.
This Go Sit Your Ass Down Somewhere moment has been brought to you by Lazarus, the Top Don. We don't care about any of the other bullshit because we already know where we going. And that man just told you where he's going right now. That's bigger than music. You know how hard it is to even know what the fuck you gonna eat at McDonald's? Shout out to all my people that shouldn't be eating at McDonald's. You know how hard that is to figure out who you're gonna roll with to the club. You know how hard that is to know what bill you finna pay first. Like and to know that, I think is everything. I think to even say, hey, I know where I'm going. You made the decision. I think that's what separates a child from an adult. A child can't make a decision
at all.
An adult can make a decision and don't give a fuck if it's right or wrong. You made the decision. You got to live with it. I mean, I'm going to take this shot. It's the last shot of the game. Fucking 3 seconds. What else do you want to do? Just sit there and be like, what's it going to make it? Like we have to be as a people, able to at least know those basics. And you know it right now. Maybe you're not living like the best life in what society says. Maybe you're not this wealthy guy driving around in a Phantom. But that's the worst time to fucking make that decision. Isn't it? Okay? Like, no, you know what I mean? Like, if you make the decision now, the Phantom ain't gonna fuck you up. And I think that's a beautiful thing that we're talking about right now. Talk about what is some of the inspiration that has gone into your music. You say you are on Hot 97. You got a little rotation there, which is big. Hot 97 and probably maybe 5 more, maybe 10 more stations are actually taken so seriously in a world in which not only has radio kind of been like a stepchild, they're literally taking their cues from YouTube and TikTok. Is it important for you to, as an artist, to have a presence on radio, and or do you feel like you have to go this full independent wave of maybe a YouTube, maybe a TikTok, and just kind of beating them over the head, if you will, with, I mean, their songs right now, shit, people are just doing one verse. I'm like, are we just going to start doing 30 or 60-second jingles at some point? Like, just give me the jingle, man. But this is where we're riddling down the music. Like, yo, that's my favorite commercial, son. That shit is dope. But where does it begin? I'm because you guys are the future right now. Talk about it.
All right. Well, shout out to all the artistry and the people that do it now. I do jingles myself. It's funny that you actually mentioned that. A lot of artists I know don't do jingles or do things like that, or don't just make instrumentals or do things like that. But we're at a point in time right now where music is actually to the most diversifying point it has ever been. You don't know what anybody comes down to it, and you don't know what is going to really come out of any genre that might come out from anyone else. So right now, what I feel is that we're at a time where, and I'm going to be the first to say it on the show, where we need a new sound of music. A new form.
Wait a minute. Stop the show. Breaking news, people. The man just broke some news for the entire world. All the people them, let's go to breaking news.
Yes. Breaking news. A new.
Turn this motherfucking sound up, man. Blast this is turn the whole this up.
Again, my dude, tell the people them we ain't fucking around. What the fuck did you just say? Say it again, my brother.
I just said right now we are at the most diversifying time in music, where things need to be reinvented right now, and we need a new form and sound of music right now. And right now is the perfect time to capitalize and do so.
So with that said, and I believe everything you just said, the idea of taking anything back, I grew up on all hip hop.
Correct.
Fuck, I love that hip hop that I grew up on.
Correct.
I mean, it's gave me an entire purpose. I think that shit is everything. But I don't feel we should take anything back.
Okay.
I think we should be moving it forward. Meaning, like you said, a bunch of fucking beakers experimenting, trying out different shit. Some shit will work, some shit won't. But encourage people to be inventors now. instead of being like duplicators
Yeah.
and kind of, going the safe route. And I get it. Sometimes you risk everything to invent. Inventors, shout out to all my inventors, people that make shit, people that break shit. Because that's really what you're doing for the first fucking era of your life. All you're doing is breaking everything you touch to invent one thing. And I know it's hard. Some people just get on the wave, and we need those people because we can't make all the records. We need those people too.
The world's already filled with plenty of silver surfers. I've been trying to tell everybody that for a long time. So there comes a time and point where everything has to balance itself, right? You asked me if I feel that, radio presence and media is important. Yes, I feel that it's very dominant. I mean, I've been on almost every platform already, from even Power 105 to Shady 45 to, everything. And you have to connect. Why? Because at the end, before you can, and listen to how I say this, before you're able to break the world into a new gravitating sound, the most important thing has to be done. And that is relationship building. And
not again, bro. He's dropping bombs here tonight, Orlando. You hearing this man speak the truth, and we ain't fucking around. Breaking news, people.
Breaking news never stops. Turn this motherfucking sound up, man. Blast this, turn the whole this up.
The whole damn thing up. The man done said one of your most important skills and the development and journey of your musical or entertainment career is what?
Is being able to have relationship building skills and a blissful ear.
Boom. You're agreeing with me. I'm agreeing with you. But I need to add, this is the first time we're talking and we're meeting, and so I'm gonna pitch a couple fastballs, a couple curveballs, but you're hitting them out the park because that's exactly what needs to be said over and over and over again. Dude, you don't know these people. How do you expect them to really support you? If everything is just branding, meaning branding as, I put my name on it, and tell everybody to buy my shit, that's not going to happen neither. Well, we're not in that time anymore.
Well, the reason why is because of the way society looks at things right now. People don't really look at it like everything is marketing and branding. From the time
everything
that you do, from when you're going to the supermarket to feeding your family to paying the rent in your house, to anything that you actually do is a form, all right, is an actual form, a way of a communication to start a business. Now, people don't know 90% of leading entrepreneurs usually don't get started because they don't take the first step in initiative, which is building a relationship.
Right. Oh, really? Technically, and this is a red alert. Technically, the decision process is the hardest decision. It's the hardest part of opening a business.
Correct.
Deciding to do it. And to your point, where businesses fail is their lack of relationship building.
Correct. Communication with one another, how they event planning, anything, just micromanagement. All of that has to do with how everything is going to be strategically and tactically done.
Right, because other businesses, and I say this all the time, other businesses, especially if they're in your radius, especially if they're around you, maybe it's a management company, maybe it's a lawyer, maybe it's so-and-so, so-and-so. They encourage you to be in business because if you're in business, they're going to have business.
Correct.
But we live in a world in which we discourage each other and ourselves mainly from doing that extra step in creating a business. And then we sabotage ourselves in, like we said, the lack of relationship building, wanting it. Oh, I got all the ideas. Or I only just want to, and I'm going to say this till the wheels fall off. Jay-Z has many things. And I know it's in a diss record, but that shit should be put in schools. We don't believe you. You need more people. That shit is everything. You
And
cannot expect to win without any help.
correct. I want to be the first on the show to give you your flowers. Shout out to Rome. You understand? Because without your vision and the way you thinking, this brand, this content, this platform that y'all have, that's amazing, wouldn't be where it's at right now. Reaching to people like myself, that's across, giving someone else a chance. People need to give you your flowers now. Somebody drop a bomb for them.
I appreciate that, my dude. We you know, and I know just kind of, you know, I'm not saying it happened to you, but I'm just saying, just in general, like these kind of conversations throw people off because, oh man, I can't wait to just, you know, pump my music and tell everybody what I'm doing. But, you know, to your earlier point, we're living in a world right now in which your branding spans way bigger than your project. If people can get your vibe and what you came to this earth to do, and that you're intelligent enough to understand the things that you're doing, and you're not just being pushed by some other handler and you're a puppet, and you can actually carry a conversation on your own and think freely. I think that garners a lifetime of customers. I think that garners people having more of an attachment to you now and getting you. Whereas, you know, and I know that's weird because we came from a generation in which we didn't know much about the artist.
At all.
They performed and it was out. And then we heard they were fucking drug addicts and all this other shit, died from an overdose. And that was what we heard growing up as a kid, but we didn't know what their thought pattern was. We just seen their greatness from what they created, but we didn't see all the mistakes that they made. And I think we live in a world right now where I think it's important to, you know, embrace our mistakes in a world that's ready to cancel you if you fuck up once. And
rap is like boxing. I don't mean to say it like that. You know, the hip hop industry is like boxing. You know, it can be very gray and very harsh at the same time. I tell people,
right. Well, I don't necessarily know if it's the rap industry as much as it is just what we were born into.
Well, what we were born into, but I do feel like what we were born into does have a chance of a cultural shift.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You guys are the energy. You guys have the new ideas.
That's
you guys are willing to take the risk. You guys are out here trying to push, you know, like when I was your age, I wasn't trying to hear what someone, you know, older than me was saying outside of the wisdom behind it. Like how to do it, I got this. But what to look out for when I do it, that's what I wanted to hear. And we kind of eliminated the whole page. So we don't want to listen to him, and we don't want because we feel we know how to do it, and then we don't want to listen to the wisdom behind it of okay, when you do this, this and this may happen. And not even listen to that. And as a result, we all are working kind of counterproductive. It's not, we're not helping each other, we're helping ourselves. And there's thousands of years of history that tells you that shit never works out. We celebrate our individuality at the expense of unity, if that makes sense. You know, like I want to be an individual. You damn right. I want to be original. I don't even want to be it. Like that's stupid. Like God already made me that way. God already put that in my mind. I know I'm not those people. But at the same time, there's a real reason why I need to be with them. And so that's, you spend your life trying to just figure those things out as an upcoming artist, as a human being, because what may not work for the older generation, what works for you now, you have to understand that a lot of the older generation, they blood, sweat, and tears, they fought, they died. They made all the mistakes for you so you didn't have to. So you could understand, like, if older people feel like, damn, bro, why you got to do that? And I get it, because you got to do it. Like, I'm crazy as hell. And I don't see no end to it. But That's okay. I'm okay with that. But a lot of people fight being okay within their skin, especially in music. What say you about that? You know, you said earlier you figured out why you want to do it. Are you okay with it?
Yeah, I'm more than okay with it. I've learned that not only am I doing music, not only basically for the people and myself, but I'm doing it to carry a legacy and a stride that was actually on for myself. So once I was able to acknowledge that, I was able to actually feel my gravitation towards the planet, know to myself, okay, am I happy and peaceful and found enlightenment within myself? Am I happy within myself before I'm able to continue doing this? Then yeah, that's why I was able to continue doing it. Being put on billboards, to people hitting my music, to gravitating to people saying, "Wow, I like the story that you have behind you," and thinking that it's just a story, and not realizing this is really my life.
What's the best thing about being in music? If you had to riddle it down to one cup of coffee,
That I
you
get
had
to,
to pour it all in his cup and
I'm
say,
a,
what
that I'm able to give my life to the public. That I'm able to give my life to the public in a cinematic view. And nothing is more amazing to me than that, because you never know how your story can touch someone else, or someone else can be going through those times and trials and tribulations. And that might be the answering key for them in that moment.
and you know what? God sends all kind of um, prophets and apostles and messiahs.
Correct.
The universe sends its comets. I mean, I equivocate them to comets.
Yes.
They come through and then they're out.
Mm-hmm.
Until the next 100 years, they just come by.
Well, they say every millennium, that one is born.
Right. And so we're having a conversation that kind of fared a comment. What you just said was the truth. And the idea of, at the end of the day, you know, you came to do something. You came to serve. You
Correct.
came to serve the people. Um, the acknowledgement of what you're doing is probably the toughest part, because most people have these like grandiose ideas of things that are impossible. Like, and when I say impossible, I mean like the idea of we're just gonna we're just gonna do our shit, be famous as fuck, and spend all this money. Now, everything I just said in sequence doesn't sound like you served anybody. And there's when we're talking about serving, I mean, there's a whole industry. It's called hospitality, where people survive off tips. They make nothing because the assumption is, they're going to make their money off tips. But for all the people that make great tips, maybe they live in Vegas, California, Florida, and they have a well, river of tips. There's more people that don't make money off of tips like that. They just make enough to survive. And you just said it. You love serving people. Do you feel like at the end of the day, if all said and done, if the world got to hear your story and our show, our mantra is our city, our story, our motherfucking sound. Um, Exclude motherfucking, but I'm just saying. Um, but yeah, because the value of someone's story is not always in currency. The value of someone's story, to your point, could save somebody's life. The value of someone's story can inspire them to be great.
Correct.
The value of someone's story, at minimum, allows other people to feel like they exist. We live in a world in which I don't know what the number is. I don't even want to know. That's one of those. There's too much information for me. But there's a lot of our people on this earth feel like they don't exist. They're told that on a regular basis. You ain't got this Phantom, you don't exist. You got a hit song, you don't exist. You ain't on the All-Star game, you don't exist.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's the main reason for my accolade and my stride. I show people, like, everybody looks at the story of Saint Lazarus, and don't know, resurrected by Jesus Christ, brought back to heal.
Yes.
That's her name. A lot of people don't really know that. Away from doing that, I've always seen things like that because I've always learned that you have to be like the little engine that could. Nobody ever really gravitates towards you until you're established, because people are afraid to meet what's called a new celestial, a new person, that new person to come over and be the guardian and say, okay, I can hold that. Just like right now, you hear it in the Bronx. You hear everybody that goes there. Shout out to A Boogie. Shout out to Don Q.
I literally love, like, I'm a person that puts on, like, I can't fall asleep without the TV on. And that tells me I'm rooted where I was born, in the Bronx. Like, I hear a noise, I can't sleep without the noise, even though I was raised down in Florida. Like, for me, God has one of the most brilliant and dope ass sense of humors. Like, for me, like the universe. Yeah. Call him God, call him the universe, call him Allah, whatever you want to call him. It's everything that's bigger than us, because we're the smallest motherfuckers in existence. Yeah. We're very small in the grand scheme of things. But to your point, the idea of being able to see past yourself, it's a tough road, man. That's why it's day to day. Nobody can say that they're this, like they just took a pill and now all their problems are solved. Like anyone pursuing any kind of career or spirituality or oneness with or partnerships with people, that's a day-to-day fucking thing. It's as well as a blessing as it is a curse. Both things can be true, because hip hop has been everything to me. It has been one of the things in my life that has not only been the unifier, whereas I thought I would be in a fight, and it's also been the divider. Like, don't fuck with them. But that's my dude. No. And, but that's what hip hop and the idea of that universe to me has been. To me, it has been my compass, if you will. And I never asked for it to be that. Like, people don't get it. When people try to materialize what hip hop is, it's not material. That bitch is spiritual. It's damn near a race. We were called to do what we do in hip hop in a lot of different ways. The early beginnings, pulled all kinds of shit out of people. That the hell is Grandmaster Flash inventing a damn cue for the headphones? Why the hell is Grand Wizard Theodore inventing scratching from his mom yelling at him? Like all of these things that came from complete, like, yo, how the fuck did they make that? Like, it came from things that had literally nothing to do. That's why hip hop is so dope, because it allows the poor, the people with nothing, that have the best ears. You ain't got nothing. You know how shit sounds. You ain't got nothing. You know how shit tastes. When you ain't got nothing, you know how shit feels. Like, we're the poor is actually where all the wealth is. Because the richer you get, the less you know how to feel. The richer you get, the less you know how to smell and taste. And I and shout out to all my peoples that got money out here, man. But at the end of the day, bro, it's not a bad thing to be independent, make just enough to take care of you and your family, and serve the people too. It's not a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's actually a blessing. You should feel honored, regardless to where you step. Because people had less and didn't even get that far. People wanted to serve the people. Somebody shot them. People wanted to serve the people, but somehow the style of what she was doing no longer exists. They canceled it. People wanted to do, so when we're talking about this hip hop thing, and like I always say, it's this thing of ours. Shout out to my man MOP, bro, because he reminded me how beautiful that shit sounds. Billy Dance, this thing of ours, it's ours. And
Right.
ours is dope. And ours is dope.
That's right.
It's ours. It's dope. That's the most valuable thing we have. Shout out to my man, H-Town, coming in here, man. You already know, man. 2 Live Crew, come on, bro. Shout out to Miami 305, man. But I love what we're talking about here tonight, and I know, I'll put money on it. You didn't expect none of this. Talking about some real shit like this.
No, I expected to talk about some real topics and things because right now is a time where everybody needs to hear the real. I mean, too much.
No. You're absolutely right, and I'm right there with you, bro.
Need to hear the real.
I walk into a spot sometimes, and I feel like a complete maniac.
I mean, no disrespect. If you want to hear bullshit, you got Jerry Springer, you got Maury, you got all that other shit.
Shout out to Jenny Jones.
Shout out to Jenny Jones. When you want this, no disrespect, you got to give people what they need to hear, not what they just want to hear.
Right. Well, but that's what I love about this show, man, because, I don't know what I'm going to get when I'm talking to somebody, that I've never talked to before. I don't know their sense of, like compass in the world. You have to feel that out. I mean, you said a lot of great things tonight. I think that my people, my city would remember from you. You acknowledging the importance of what it is to serve people. I mean, we're all servers. We've been bantering around the idea of building a coalition of people that can put together an infrastructure that protects our entertainment industry.
I'm gonna make what makes me remember it all the time is just look at your performance right organizations. People forget that. We are a society of authors, composers, publishers, entertainment people. We're still a group of individuals that have all come from the same stride and sheet, looking to be able to be successful in our avenues.
And we need people, and we need, just like we got dope ass MCs, we need dope ass protection too. And all of our problems cannot be solved with guns.
Correct.
All of our problems can be solved with conflict.
Correct.
Some of our problems need to be solved with intelligence. I just did a post today about what it is to be Superman. And Superman never needed no help.
At all.
Batman did.
Batman had technology.
But no, he needed help. And in fact, that last movie they did was just about him gathering the help.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't too proud to say, hey, I need your help. Who else do you know? Can we get this motherfucking person? And everyone they went after outside of maybe one person fought or didn't want to do it. This is what we need. We need this as an entertainment community. We need protections because they are coming after us. We are the conscience of this fucking world. We tell them why we should be good people. Our entertainment allows people to feel good in a world that most of the time, all you want to do is some horrible ass shit. People cut you off, you want to kill them. If fucking you over in taxes, you want to kill them. Like, just 24 hours of these people killing all black people. You want to kill these people. Like, we're constantly reminded of why we should hate, and then we have that same energy, that same kind of energy, attacking the music industry and actually taking our people, isolating them, tricking them into believing that they're more valuable, like by themselves. But isn't that what a fucking lion would do to a gazelle? No, man, you don't need the rest of your pack. You can talk to me over here by yourself. A lion would do that all day long.
No,
Like,
right.
I can see the lion having a conversation with this gazelle all by himself. Say, no, we're not gonna hurt you, man. We're not about that. Man. We just want to talk to you by yourself. And then see, you got like 8 lions feeding off of you. And you're gone. You're a memory. We need protectors for our own. and it needs to transcend all cultural lines. All we've been bantering this around, and while we're in this new era of kind of like Aquarius, where we're thinking and we're talking. And I'm running that to you, man, to put the word out in New York, because we need all of us. We need all of us from all parts of this country.
I'm with that, and I'm gonna leave you in the show with this question, because this is something that I've been telling people even in New York and I'm around, right? To ourselves. We really got to stop and look at it to ourselves and say, are we heading in the right direction as a nation? And are we doing our own parts within our own cultural realms, within our own cities? And if we are, right, are those accommodated leaders that we depicted?
And I'm gonna answer that. And normally I would probably defer to what you originally said, which I'm not gonna answer that. Because that would be a lie. But I know it to be the truth.
Correct.
We're looking at the wrong fucking things. And it's not our fault. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. We're looking at the wrong fucking things. We're looking at what people do wrong. We're not spending the amount of energy in what they do right. We're not talking. Once again, many people go places and may see a homeless person. And maybe that person is not your typical person. Maybe they're not the drunk. Right? And you may hear something out of them that really, it'll blow your mind, sounds completely irresponsible. And then you talk to the drunk homeless guy, and he didn't even tell you what he was going through. He just said, God is real, man. And I hope somebody loves your ass. And changes your whole day. Right? So this idea that we all have to do right, or everything had to work out, to me sounds like the marketing schemes that we were talking about earlier. Making people feel inadequate to do their job so that they never become president. And that's what people deal with every day at work. If you make somebody, even though you know they're doing a great job, they could probably run the whole company because they know it in and out, you focus and highlight on one fucking thing that they can't do, so they feel they need you. And we need those people on our side. And there's good people out here that could see all of that shit. That could see the idea of, if you sign this contract, you're going to push about 10,000, 100,000 people behind. You're going to make our jobs harder. Do not sign that contract, not because we don't want you to have that money, but you're not realizing the gravity of it. That you're going to say it's okay to treat every artist that way just because you're desperate. So what can we do to help you get by while we find the right contract, while we find the right shit? As a whole, as a people, we need this. We've been needed it. And we need to find ways on which that shit can happen instead of finding ways on why it can't happen, because that's the work of the opposition. They don't want us to have it. They want all the lawyers, all the people that went to Harvard, that when you go to court on some copyright shit or some shit that you did, they got all the lawyers. They got the federal government behind them. They got every motherfucker behind them. We got nobody. You're there by yourself. The entire state ain't even representing you. Your entire country ain't even representing you as an artist. And like I said, we're hospitality. Hate to say it, people. Most people don't live in Beverly Hills that are in this industry. They all work for tips. They depend on all those tips. Those shows are tips. Every show they do is their tips. Less shows they do, they don't make no money. We need a union. Some sort of union, some sort of infrastructure that not only focuses on the protection of our artists and our people and our entertainment industry, but also works on like benefits. People, if they need counseling, they need somebody to talk to, they need health benefits. You spend 20 hours a day on tour, barely sleeping. roadies, engineers, all of these people that make your show happen. These people need protections. We need protections. We need to start thinking in a new fucking way of unity, not because we want it. And I know there's not a lot of people that want unity. They say it, but they don't want it because people are selfish, and that's okay. But we need it. And so there's a lot more of them than there is of the people that want. There's a lot more of people that feel like we need it. They just don't know how to get there. And they never talk to anybody that inspired that out of them. But this is what I'm telling you. You're in New York City. You're in the Bronx, where hip-hop began. We need to talk about this. Spread the word. Let everybody know that this shit is a brewing. How can we bring all of us together, the entire country? We got to start here. We can't say the world yet until we show that we can do it.
Correct. And then
we need to start talking to each other about this because all of you guys deserve it. You deserve it. If you're going to fucking entertain people, you should at least have the dignity enough to be able to be taken care of in the hospital. Because whatever is given to you should be looked at the same way with another artist. Maybe the drummer, maybe the guitarist. Instead of people literally leaving this world penniless, no publishing, no nothing. That it seems like it's like fuck the crazy money. What about the benefits? What about the protections that we deserve? We deserve that. Not because we deserve it and we can work for it, because we're smart enough to put in infrastructure and work for it and create it. We created hip hop. We could create much more, is what I'm saying.
Honest truth, not to sound like the piper of bad news, but it should have been created already. All the forefathers and all the people that were already here in the forefront that are still having problems now today, day and age, receiving royalties and checks and trying to feed their families from music from prior.
And that's why I say the old system doesn't work, because the old system allowed for certain things to be okay. Like, we don't need that.
Correct. But now, now music has gone to a form where you can't only just rely on the digital streams. You have to come onto just yourself and connect with the people. Like yourself, people can hit me up directly through my email and purchase my album from me directly. Are you willing to go that far as an actual artist to be able to get those things done? I
love what you just said. They can reach you directly. But then that makes everyone's job harder, because they're having to pick a side instead of acknowledging that one side, regardless, if you live in California, fucking Compton somewhere, or Oakland, there's people that care about what New York does.
Of course.
We're in Miami. I'm in Orlando. We care about what the fuck New York does. How the fuck did we not make an infrastructure based on this when we're all using this thing of ours? You see what I'm saying? So when you look at the infrastructures that, let's say, these big corporations like a Walmart, a Target have built, normally they build close to each other so they can protect one another. One's not going to accept the other being robbed without them doing something about it.
The real truth was, since you're going to get it to that point, I didn't want to state it on here on that point. They didn't want one created. That was the real point.
Well, I mean, if you're Burger King, of course you don't want a rival. You don't want him to come out with McDonald's to come out with another Big Mac. Okay. So I get it, but they've done one better. We're not even talking. There's not even nobody at the fucking table. How do you get to a solution? Which we would come up with a solution. Shit, we invented hip hop. That wasn't built by a corporation. We invented hip hop out of absolutely nothing. Correct. So you're telling me we can't sit down, given all this information, given all the things that are in place right now, and we couldn't come up with a way to protect our entertainers?
I believe that there is the way we can, but I believe that there are gatekeepers at the end that are stopping that.
Well, they're not invited to the meeting.
I totally understand.
And they won't go anyway. They won't go anyway.
They won't go anyway. The problem was that without serving them Triscuits and crackers and them not being invited to our meeting, these are the people that what I call like the hip hop coalition, that they have the key turning events to this industry that we cannot just change like that.
I was just talking to my mans. the other day, and I just told him like, this is why we're so jacked up. One robber in a neighborhood gets to roam free. One robber. Sometimes it's two, maybe three. The neighborhood represents probably about 100 and so people, but yet 3 people. Now that's fucking leadership. As sick as that is, that's leadership. If you can get 100 people to bow down to 3, any gazelle would love that fucking blueprint. Any fucking prey at all would take those would take that.
Yes.
But the fact that we as thinking people, we as real people, as long as we're allowing that, it will be difficult. But difficult never stopped us. We made hip hop out of difficult situations. So what are we looking at? Are we looking at difficult, or are we looking at we need this? And hip hop represents what we needed. It was going to happen one way or another. We needed it.
With you, we need it. I'm just stating at the end of the day that there are people in comfortable positions as gatekeepers that don't feel the same way we do.
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
Fuck them. Fuck them. I'm not looking at them. There's no reason to look at them because, like Jay-Z said, we don't believe you. You need more people. I told my man an example the other day based on just the idea and the acknowledgement of when you go up to City Hall complaining about a police officer and you're one dude, what's going to happen is you're going to be escorted out and maybe potentially arrested too.
Correct.
But you show up at that City Hall about 5,000 deep. Yeah, they're going to bring more police out, but they ain't going to do nothing to nobody. Everybody's got to listen now. And we're not looking at that power. We're looking at their power, but we're not looking at ours.
I agree. I get so tired of us having to preach to other people because we've known this for years already.
Well, that's why we have to expand the circle. We're hearing, especially in these days, I keep my circle tight. You're a fucking fool. That's like God said, I'm gonna keep this earth small. So only 3 people can live here. Like that, none of that shit makes sense. Like everything is giant. Everything, when in doubt, grow bigger. We're looking for new earths and they're bigger earths. We're looking for all of these, and they're always bigger. They're never smaller.
I'm glad there's someone else to know on this planet that thinks the same way that I do, because I've been around saturated people that when you speak like this at the end, it doesn't even change a blissful mind because
it doesn't matter. I'm not looking at them. And I just got a conversation with my dude the other day about that. Like, what are we looking at? So and that's crazy. I think that's where all the money is. If we could stop looking at what they're doing and fucking focus on what could be done, our power just based on math. And I'm not really a math guy or facts guy because that shit is burning flames of hell when it's not in your favor. But in this particular argument, in this particular conversation, the numbers are in our favor.
Okay.
Just by our unity. There's more people out here that want to see something new. They don't have, maybe they don't have a you. Maybe, and I'm telling you, we live on assumptions, and that shit is that shit was made in McDonald's.
You said it. Not me.
That shit ain't true. It ain't true. We doubt every fucking time so that we don't have a conversation with somebody. And maybe somebody never told them that. There's people that have been on the earth 40 years plus. I'm one of them. I'm 47 years old. My roots are in Puerto Rico. I never went there.
Wow, okay.
There's people out here that never been told or never been talked to in that way.
You're right.
So the assumption that we all got the newspaper outside of COVID is ridiculous. There's no proof behind that. That's impossible. But what is possible is you can play the song again. You can play that song.
You're right.
And you're not looking at these motherfuckers that are going to stop it, because you should already know. You should already know. None of this would exist based on poison. This universe exists based out of love, too.
Love is
And
always
there's more love than poison.
yeah.
Poison is needed. But but we are here. We are here because something loves us. We're loved on some fucking kind of understanding from somewhere. Who knows where it is? But there's no way we could have lived on poison that we wouldn't exist. So basing it on that, we're just not having enough conversations. We're not talking to it. We're talking at each other. We're talking past each other, but we're not talking to each other. We're not learning from one another. If someone says, "Don't nobody give a fuck about you because you're in New York. Nobody give a fuck about me because I'm in Florida. Nobody gives a fuck about this person because they're in Cali." And so, up the years and decades of somebody telling you that,
well,
you
that goes formally now to the conversation I kind of had, like one of my brothers is in astrology, and he told me that right now the world right now is in Mercury retrograde. Messages are not being perceived correctly. People are not understanding each other the way it should be until.
Well, that's liberating, because that's not your problem. You're
Correct.
sent here to serve the food.
Correct.
You have nothing to do with whether they like the food.
But here's where I'm coming from. When you're serving people, at the same time, you do tend to have what's called the golden heart, where you care about if when you're serving people that they're
They
really
have a good experience, right? You want them to have a good experience.
not looking for nothing, no payment, no receivers, but that we're good in spirits. There's nothing wrong with a person saying that.
Right.
That's a good feeling that I go for. So I understand where you're coming from.
Right, because any good server will tell you, or bartender, especially serving drinks, there's days that there are people that come to the bar, they don't even drink any alcohol. They might have their lunch there, and they're probably some of the best people that you serve, and they love their experience. And then there's people there that may drink and have a good time, and they're looking at you like you're beneath them.
Correct.
So, like, it just, but once again, you're serving the people, but serving is convoluted. Serving doesn't mean you get to spend the money that you served.
Correct.
Like I tell people all the time, you give somebody a homeless person some money, you don't get to spend that money too. You don't give, but you don't get to spend their money too, because then you're not giving.
Correct.
You're spending the money.
Correct. You said it for me
You
earlier.
didn't even give it.
So, some people don't realize that you have to be grateful with just being able to take care of your family, be well off, and then that came off. And that's the position I'm in right now. And the position that I'm in, I'm grateful now towards the world, towards this platform, and everybody gets to hear my story and get to see someone that still goes out no matter what, still following our ways and trying to connect. And I'm going to spread that message, and I'm going to keep this positive message that me and you get, because it gave me a light of hope to know that I'm not the only one that thinks this way.
Right. And that's why we need to be talking. It don't matter where the fuck we at, bro. God gave us this technology for a reason. And whether, I don't know how many negatives are attached to it, but there's at least one positive out of it. And we need to be exploiting that and finding where are people at that can carry a bigger conversation, a business model that can be carried on for the entire world. And we don't have to, it doesn't have to be, what do you call it? Like, benefits for all? Because right now that's impossible. But what is possible is we can focus on our people, the people that serve people for a living, and at least have some understanding and protections for our people that give their life to others. We should be considering them and finding different ways of what value is. Knowing your fellow actor, actress, singer, engineer is safe, and they're going to give you maybe 1 or 2 more years in the industry to do your thing. I feel like that's a vested interest. I feel like that's something that we should all share. And yeah, we're going to have people that are going to be greedy. Well, I don't want all the money for me. Well, I got to give it to them. But they're not going to get involved anyway. They're going to tell other people to not get involved. They're going to do their job because they've been doing it. It's been 400 years of evidence and records of what they're going to do. None of that shit has ever been in question because this is in retaliation to what they're doing. So I don't think that they get to decide who's going to be involved because they're already involved. We're not involved.
Wow. And he said it. Breaking news.
I mean, we're not involved. We're not involved in each other enough to bring this to a stop, let alone bring a solution. So right now, this is what we got. Let's find a way to stop this. Let's come together as a people in the industry, similar to doing. I mean, we need your young energy, your young ideas. We need that. We need some of the wisdom from the legends, their input and their help and their hands. And we also need people from across this nation that maybe not get it right now, but are willing to help. And we need to invite all them motherfuckers to the table and stop this fucking, well, they did this before. None of that shit matters. Because everyone that's employed on their side has done worse, and they're still working. We need our people working.
That's right. And I'm totally in agreement with you and to spread that message through New York and the world.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you coming on tonight, man. It's been a blessing. We've talked about some real things that concern this thing of ours. Where can people find your music? Everybody, what platforms?
Find me on all platforms at Lazaris The Top Don, the way it's spelled here, just in case y'all don't see it. Lazaris, no ebonics, but shout out Big L. The word the actual spelling, top, and then Dawn. And now you can check out my website at www.topdonempire.com. I repeat, that's www.topdonempire.com.
Well, we appreciate you. I did get that drop. You're always welcome on the show. We love what you're doing. We support you down here whenever you're in Orlando. You are welcome, brother, and we got you, bro.
Definitely, and I definitely plan to be out there in the next 2 months. I've been waiting for some promoters and some shows out in Orlando. I want to give a shout out to Orlando. Last time I was out there, I got a lot of love. Everybody shed me things. I want to shed love to my nephew, Justin, all my family, my aunts all out there because I got family out there. So,
yes,
shout out. And shout out to you, my brother, and the whole platform in the show. Everybody make sure y'all follow my brother Soul Rome in the show and, give comment and feedback. We need more good brothers like him on this and what he's doing.
I appreciate you, family. And like I said, bro.
So you can know I'll be supporting that merch. I'm going to be getting me a shirt.
I heard that, my brother. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you, family. Like I said, it's bigger than us. This show ain't about me. It's about my city. It's about our people, and we need we need something else. And it begins with the conversation, and thank God for it. I think just because we can talk as people, I think, if we start in pennies, we'll get to the dollars. We just need a generation that just, is not so focused on the dollars and appreciates the pennies and the steps, the little steps. The steps to get where you're trying to go is everything right now. And we need that. We can't be skipping steps. We've done that. We've been there. It's not going to work.
That's right. So
skipping steps.
No skipping steps. I want to thank you and blessings, King, for the opportunity and the chance to people. Shout out to everybody in Orlando and the So Rome show and what we're doing for the city and everybody there. And let's continue to spread that positive message.
Give it up for my brother from another mother, representing the BX, the birthplace of hip hop, and myself included. The man, Lazaris, the Top Don, man. We love you, man. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. This is what we're doing, man. We're talking to our people. We don't need no gimmicks. We don't need no, we're going to do, this giveaway or say something completely hilarious with a sound effect. That's not what we do here. We talk. We're building. And it may take time. You may not see everybody that you want here right now. That's fine. That's not what we're doing it for. We're doing it to talk to our people because our people need to be talked to right now. We need to be listening, and this is what we do. Sound of Orlando, baby. This is everything right now. We are the O. Let's go.
Live on stage, the sound.
Orlando.
So, if they ready,
Yes.
the sound.
Orlando.